What's up, y'all? It's your boy Carcino here, and this is the truth behind the beef between Ice Cube and then N.W.A. Now, before we get into this, let me say, don't forget to click and watch all the beefs that we got in its playlist. This is just one of many for those who just might have clicked and just found this video. Now, let's go to the beginning. When Ice Cube came to N.W.A. and when they met him, he was with DJ Sir Jinx. Now, DJ Sir Jinx and the way Ice Cube rap pattern was comedy. He would make fun out of like nursery rhymes and make them dirty. You know, telling dirty jokes into his rhymes. And it was funny. You know, they were story raps. But it was funny. So, it was entertaining to the rest of the crew because they could all relate. He would talk about name brand stuff and then relate it in a nursery rhyme type of format. So that became the Ice Cube style. So once that was hidden for Ice Cube, he linked with Dr. Dre, and Dre brought him in when they was working on an album independently with N.W.A. So he already had the song Boys in the Hood written, and Eazy-E didn't even want to perform it because he's like, man, I don't rap, man. And so Dre had to talk Eazy-E into doing the song. Okay, so he didn't even want to do it at first. So when it came down to it, they were also doing another project, the N.W.A. and the Posse. So when they was recording that record, N.W.A. and the Posse, their first record, it was a collaboration with the Fila Boys and a couple other guys while they was working on Straight Outta Compton, that album, and Eazy-E's album at the same time. The N.W.A. and the Posse album was the strength that was going to build up to grab the revenue to build those two albums. Now, doing that, the Fila crew had their own thing, and they had Doc T, who eventually ended up becoming the D.O.C. And why is this so important? Because Ice Cube and the D.O.C. never really got along. This was the core of what really was going on behind the scenes. Nobody really talks about this at all because they don't really know. But the D.O.C., when they did an album, they did like 4 songs on the N.W.A. album. And once the group broke up, because Eazy told him, like, dude, you want to make more money than you ever made in your life? Drop those other guys and come sign with me. Come work with me. And Dre, we want you to be part of the Ruthless family. Because it was clear that the Doc was lyrically inclined than anybody else in the Fila crew. So he came back under the name the D.O.C. And when the D.O.C. got there, he started going to work, writing songs for Straight Outta Compton album and Eazy-E album, right along with Ice Cube. So on the album, it's a great mixture because you got Doc's writing, you got Cube writing, you got Ren writing his parts, and you got 3 of the best minds ever to write an album, and that's 3 different styles of rap. And then that's why if you listen to Straight Outta Compton and then you listen to Eazy Does It, that album, Eazy Does It, Eazy-E is rapping in 3 different like styles, and you could like, man, if you know rap, you listening to it and you going, man, Eazy-E can rap like that. Like the flow is different, and that's because you got 3 different writers writing for the album. Now everything is going smooth, and Q guys from South Central, you know, the guys that's in his crew, they thinking, okay, N.W.A is blowing up. It's the biggest thing going now. Eazy-E's all over the world, and the tours is hot. Q got to be getting all this money because Q wrote these songs. So, you know, they asking Q, like, man, your album got to be coming next. You know, y'all did this and that. You know, you got a solo album, or the group coming with another album, and, you know, you writing all these songs, you know, like, what's your contract like? And he was like, oh, man, you know, there was no contracts at that time because it wasn't a business. When Jerry Heller came in and was brought into the group, he had to legitimize the business as far as the artists. They weren't signing the contracts. N.W.A was just a name. The name of a group that nobody was signed to. So they had to legalize everything to be taxed. And then people can get cut checks. So when they did that, Q was assumed he was going to get writer credits. But where he made the mistake was when the album was already pressed and released, his name is not on there for credits. For writing credits. That's where the problem should have lied right then and there. He didn't have any writing credits on the album. Then, like, Eazy-E got credit for writing songs he didn't write, and he basically got paid, him and Jerry Heller. Dr. Dre signed away his rights to the album. MC Ren signed away his rights. Doc signed away his rights. So they didn't get rights from that. They got a check off the N.W.A album, or like maybe $75,000 a piece. Plus they was getting paid, I don't know, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a show for their performance. So you talking about some broke dudes from Compton. This some big money to them. But Cube, like, I'm not signing that. You know, I signed. I want my own deal. You know, I want to get paid. I want my money. Jerry Heller was basically on the tour negotiating with Ice Cube as the tour is still rolling from city to city. They negotiate. So Cube ain't happy about it. Because they haven't even gotten to the office yet. They still on tour. So he on stage and they like, y'all ready for N.W.A? And Cube like, man, F N.W.A. On the stage because he unhappy about his deal. Because he's not going to get paid. And they basically stonewalling him like, alright, what you going to do then? Like, you can go because you're not part of the group legally. So, you don't want to sign to the record company, you could bounce. So what he did was take a whole different approach. Because he went into Jerry Heller's office. And he started throwing a tantrum. Like they never had a conversation. Tossing stuff over, like, man, I want to get this fixed. But it was an act. It was a performance. All of that was a performance so he can get his way. Then he talked with Jerry and said, I am about the group. I want to be in the group. And Jerry said, okay, you know what? You did write the songs. But we can't go ahead and just pay you for something that was already waived and marked down and you not even tracked for it. You can't go back and do that. You'll be fighting in court forever. Like, Eazy-E's name was already down for the credits for the album. You can't just go back and fix that. It's done. Album's pressed, it's released, it's out. For tax reasons, you can't do it. But for any other records that was going to come out, they would pay him. They would track you for him. You'll get paid for him. You'll get your deal, and you was gonna go. Jerry Heller had a contract for Ice Cube to sign. Not just that, they were gonna work on a deal. Cube was happy with what he heard from Jerry Heller when they were talking about it. He used that, and he found a new and a better deal, and he leveraged it. He used it as leverage to get another deal on the East Coast with the Lynch Mob, who didn't like N.W.A. So this was a good fit for him to work with Sir Jinx again, and then work with the Lynch Mob, and go over there and work with them dudes. Now, when that happened, all his beats became more East Coast, more into the drum. You know, that was the Lynch Mob style and sound. So now he got a crew again. You know, now he's like the leader of a crew, and he can control his own ship. But he used that as leverage to get out of his deal. Now that's how it stopped, and that's where the betrayal came in. But let's go into the DOC. Now DOC came in, like I told you how he came into the group. When Doc came in, he was also co-writing. Now the Doc thing was, Doc was with, what's his name? Was with the Fila crew. When he came in and started writing, now all the writing went to Doc. And not only that, this would really tick Cube off and set him off. DOC had an album coming out before Cube, and Cube really felt a certain way about it. He tried to play it down. Oh man, you know, everybody's saying I should do an album, but my time will come. But my thought, man, I'm just focused on the group. I'm just focused on the group. But he was salty because he felt he was a better rapper than the Doc, and everybody else thought differently. They saw DOC as the truth, as the light. Like, Cube, you good, but Doc is that dude. You know, and Doc rarely wrote rhymes with profanity. That's another thing. He wasn't a cuss show with Doc. Doc was more about being lyrical and showing some skills and some diversity in his style and being sharp with his lyrics, more than just writing cusses into his raps. So when Doc came in and started writing, and he was more into the George Clinton and guitar and the funk, once he came with that sound and was working on his album, then Cube, the last song he ever did for them is when he did the grand finale, when it had everybody on there, and it just winded up being Ice Cube's grand finale with N.W.A. But the thing was, everybody's song on that verse was better than Ice Cube's. Ice Cube, before he left, went ahead, came back in early that morning, because everybody heard the verses. The song was ready to get, sent out. It's done. He came in early that morning, before anybody got to the studio, re-recorded his verse after going home, writing another one, and coming back and replacing his verse. And that's why he went so hard on his verse on the grand finale, because he was trying to show upstage to die and wanted an upstage Ren verse. He wanted to have the best verse ever, because this was his promotion. Like, this is going to be his promo going to his album, because he knew he was leaving. He had already had a deal in play. So Cube already was just plotting this. And when he left, and the way he left, the DLC, you can see it on YouTube. I actually had a cassette when the N.W.A. put the cassette out, where they clowning Ice Cube. DLC got a Jerry curl wig on, and he's talking with Jerry Heller, and they giving him he signed a contract for some hair, some of that Jerry curl products. And DLC is mocking him in the video. Now, both albums did great. Cube album did great, and DLC album. They sold about the same amount of copies. Both were critically acclaimed albums. N.W.A. is making tons of money. Doc is making money. He's writing for Miss Chalet. He wrote the whole Niggas for Life album for N.W.A., which sold in, just crazy amounts. He wrote the entire diss towards Ice Cube because he didn't like Cube from the jump. Cube was in a position where he wanted to be when he came into N.W.A. So when he came there, Cube was writing, he's writing. He's basically writing against Cube to outshow that he was a better writer. So when Cube was gone, he was free to express. Like, yeah, I never liked dude anyway. Now I get to go at it. So when he wrote Real Niggas and then they came and retaliated, Cube set all that up with his genius. People don't think Ice Cube dissed them first, but Cube dissed them first. They were doing their thing, but on the first album, Cube I never mentioned their names. I never said nothing about N.W.A. But on his commercial skit, on the first album, America's Most Wanted, he goes, and this goes out to the other group. No matter how hard you try to be, here's what they think about you. And then he starts playing these commercials and think about it. Punk. So that was a shot at N.W.A. That's why on 100 Miles and Running, they decided to diss him. And that's when they came out with the Real Niggas. Because Real Niggas was on the EP, 100 Miles and Running. Then it was on the album. But they were dissing him with here's what they think about you. A message to Benedict Arnold. No matter how hard you try to be. That was a retaliation to what Ice Cube did. But a lot of people didn't pick up on what Ice Cube did. They picked up on what N.W.A. did. So it looked like N.W.A. started it. And then Ice Cube had to come back and answer. But he provoked that response. He knew Doc is writing the rhymes. He knew Doc and Ren and all them was going to write the rhymes. But Ren and Cube were like brothers. Like they were the tightest out of the clique. So Ren would never go against or team up with Doc to go against Cube until he started feeling the influence of everybody and was like, man, yeah, you deserted us, man. Just to try to blow up on your own and just say, forget the crew. And now you dissing us? Alright, now it's on. So Ren stopped taking his calls. Ren didn't want to have nothing to do with him no more. So at this point, it was like, oh, okay, you was my best friend. Now you ain't even talking to me no more? Like, what's what? Because Q was trying to get Ren to leave. Like, dude, leave. Come join the lynch mob with me. You know what I mean? We gonna bust out an album. Me and you doing this, man. I'll be on your solo project. That way you got your albums coming out. So Ren was telling him Eazy about it. Eazy was like, man, you don't need that. We finna put you out next anyway. You was always gonna come before Q. So Ren had life sentence coming. That was the next step. But DOC got in a car accident shortly after his album release. And it crushed his larynx. He couldn't really speak for a month. He had to have plastic surgery on his face. He fell asleep driving a van, some type of truck they had. He went out of the window because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and his face hit a tree. And when that happened, it changed his life. he had to go into just writing raps, but he always wanted to rhyme, and it took 7 years for him to come back and rhyme. But because he had a tracheology on, it kind of like damaged his voice box. It's not like how I'm with my raspy voice now because I got a cold. His is different because he actually had it crushed when he hit that tree. Now that he was full-time writing and doing all this activity, it freed up everything. Q would never diss DOC. He would never publicly diss him, but when he was responding back to the raps, DOC was writing against Q. So it was like Q versus Doc in the writing. And in the end, Q won. And no other songs was written about Q ever again. Because N.W.A had his own internal problems they had to deal with. With Suge Knight convincing Dre it was time to go. Because Q shined light on what was really happening inside of Ruthless Records. Like, y'all are making all this money, but you're not getting all this money. Like, the millions of records, and Dre's producing all these records. He's not getting the money that he thought he should be getting. And Eazy was getting all the money. Because Eazy was executive producer, and he had just signed Dr. Dre to an exclusive contract, which was going to make him a co-executive producer. So that way he could start getting more royalties for his money. And it's funny that everybody got mad at Eazy-E, wanted to leave Eazy-E, Dre left him. But eventually, they did the same practices, him and Ice Cube. They did the same practices with their own companies, with their own artists, who eventually said, I can't work with Cube no more. Or people like, I can't work with Dre. So it's not the person, and all. It's funny because in that time, when you're young, you don't see it. Because you think, we boys. But it's a business. And in the same thing that made them say, I gotta leave Eazy and Jerry, they're ripping us off, they did the same practices when they applied to business. It's with the other artists. So if it was criminal or something wrong with it, why would you do it to somebody else? So that's how the beef started. That's how it basically ended. And they tried to get together the group because Eazy-E went to meet with Q because Ren didn't want to do the new N.W.A album without either Q or Dre back in the group, in the fold. So for a while, like, Ren wasn't speaking with Eazy. And then they mended that before he died on his last album. But before that, when he was doing that 5150, Only If You Want It, like, they weren't even speaking. The only one he was speaking to was Yella. Everybody else was just not seeing the picture. And that's because they signed their own life away to a long-term deal, and nobody made them sign it. They signed it. And Eazy-E's got millions of dollars, and they don't. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars, but Eazy-E got millions. But they didn't see the bigger picture. By them being in N.W.A and them being in a group, it gave them a light to where if MC Ren came out by himself without N.W.A, he would sell 50,000 records. if Ice Cube would have came out without N.W.A, he may have sold 100,000 records. You know, see, the N.W.A and the connection it had to it added to, it's just like G Unit. Lloyd Banks has a personality that wouldn't sell a record without 50 Cent and G Unit. Because of G Unit, Lloyd Banks could sell a million records on his first record. You know, nobody would have bought a Tony Yayo album. Nobody would have bought Young Buck. By them being in that group, it enabled them to have an identity. You cared to know who they was in the group. When they was with 50, 50 was the personality. Didn't have to be the best rapper. He was the personality. Just like Eazy-E was the personality for N.W.A. He didn't have to be the best rapper. And they were the closest thing to another N.W.A. with G Unit. They were like, that could be another N.W.A type situation. Except for 50 got more control over everything in the formats. But you see it, everybody fell apart, then everybody started coming back. Because it's a business. And when you homeboys, and people are like, oh, you homeboys, and this is this, you're getting all the money, and they're not. They're getting a portion. Then problems ensue. When things start going bad. You know, when it's rolling, all things are good. But when things slow down a little, and then they see what they have and what you have, it creates a situation that many don't understand or fathom. But I'm out. Took up more of your time. I'm out.